Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So I wanted to address a question that I get asked quite frequently, and that is, what do I do for arms? What's my recommendation for an arm workout, biceps, triceps? A lot of times, specifically, I'm being asked about bicep workouts. Now, although I've done quite a few videos addressing this, quite a few videos showing my arm workout, quite a few videos going through step by step what I do, I figured I'd do kind of more of a explanatory video rather than just showing you. I figured it'd be beneficial for me to tell you as well. So basically, I'll break down my split for you. So I'll hit arms essentially 3 times a week. I'll do back and biceps on Monday, chest and triceps on Tuesday. Then I'll do an arm day, just arms, biceps and triceps on Friday. So the reason I do that, obviously when you do a back workout, that's going to be a pulling motion. So you're going to hit your biceps on a lot of those movements, especially, lat pull downs. You're hitting your biceps because you're contracting your bicep with the pulling motion. Bent over rows, pulling motion. So if you think about it from that standpoint, you're activating your biceps with your back. So if you train back and biceps on separate days, then you'd probably be overworking your biceps at that point if you're still doing biceps on their own independent day as well. Again, so you probably won't want to do back and biceps on separate days, chest and triceps on separate days. I wouldn't really recommend that. Again, with the chest and triceps, when you do a bench press, you're pushing, you're activating your triceps. So the goal that you need to keep in mind when you're training your arms is, how can I best utilize and optimize my training days? How am I going to do this without overworking my arms, but working them to a point where, I'm getting them to that excessive workload constantly day after day without overdoing it. So you got to think of it from that perspective. So chest and tris on the same day, back and bis on the same day. I found that to be most optimal. And then 2 days later on Friday, 2 days later on Friday, doing your arm day, biceps and triceps together. So the way that I break that up, when I do back and biceps together, I do heavy biceps with heavy back. So that's my concentric day. All right, so when you're training arms, the way you need to view it and the way you need to organize your split is, how can I most optimally train arms with the training days that I have without overdoing it, but doing it to the point where you're working them enough that you're going to force growth. So that's the way you need to think of it, as an optimal standpoint, and not the point of just overworking them. So you need to keep in mind what exercises are going to work, triceps and chest at the same time, so you don't overtrain your triceps. What exercises are going to work biceps or biceps and back at the same time, so you don't overwork your biceps. So let's break it down to my split. So back and biceps, the thing that I really try to keep in mind and be aware of is concentric versus eccentric motion with your biceps. So concentric, that's going to be back day. So on back day, I'm focusing on heavy bicep movements. So you can kind of think of it as heavy and light days. So back day is going to be my heavy bicep movements. That's going to be where I'm doing my heavy strict curls, heavy hammer curls, not a whole lot of isolation, just heavy barbell curling, heavy dumbbell curling, and I try to keep it pretty heavy on the cable curls, stuff like that. So focusing on the concentric, the exertion of force, the contraction. That's what concentric is. It's from bottom to top, the contraction movement. It's when you're exerting the most force. So that's what I focus on back and bicep day. I do heavy back, heavy biceps. Same with chest and triceps. On chest and triceps day, I'll go heavy on chest and heavy on triceps. So heavy compound stuff for triceps. Also the same for bicep. Compound movements. The curl. You're not doing preacher curls. You're not doing isolation curls. You're just doing heavy compound easy bar curls. So I try to keep it compound on those days. So for triceps, compound movements, close grip bench press. You're going to do heavy, behind the neck dumbbell extensions with a heavy dumbbell, something like that. Heavy, compound, and kind of a broad, just heavy movement. So those are the first 2 days of the week. The last day of the week, Friday, that's going to be your long arm workouts. This is going to be where you focus a little bit more on the eccentric. So the eccentric is the negative of the motion, and you're going to focus more on isolation. So first 2 days, heavy compound, concentric. And the last day, you want to do a high rep scheme. So that's the other thing, is the rep scheme that I focus on. So I focus on lower reps. When I say lower reps, I'm saying, closer to 8 reps versus 10. That's my lower rep day. So those are going to be the first 2 days where I do the compound heavy stuff. And the last day, it's going to be higher reps. And when I say higher reps, I'm saying 10 to 15, usually around that 12 rep range. So when you're hitting these reps, you're going to want to focus on isolation, and you're going to want to focus on eccentric. So on these days, I will also do easy bar curls because I'm training for strict curl. But when I do the curl, I'll come to the top, I'll hold it, and I'll come down really fucking slow. So I really want to focus on that eccentric part of the bicep coming down. I'll do a lot of isolation work. That's going to be your preacher curls. That's going to be your concentration curls. That's going to be your lighter dumbbells. That's going to be your cable work with the attachments for one arm at a time. For triceps, that's going to be your tricep extensions, one arm at a time instead of the both arm behind the neck extensions. That's going to be your one arm cable movements where you come out and you try to train the different heads of the tricep. So you would have an inward where you come outward, and you would kind of turn it this way and then just kind of come down. So you can try to hit all the different heads. I'll do, try to focus on all those different points. On the isolation day, I'll try to isolate all the different heads. So for example, if you got a rope push down, where you're holding the rope on the cables and you're coming down like this, you can do one variation where you come down and twist it at the bottom. So twist it as you come down. That's going to isolate one head of the bicep. And then you can do another set where you hold the rope, you hold it steady, and just come down and don't twist it. So that's going to be two different heads that you're hitting right there. The same thing if you just do a push down with the V-shaped attachment. That's going to be the same thing as if you just hold the rope steady. So that's one thing that I do. What else do I do? There's also a single rope attachment where if you kind of want to hit that inner head, and you hold the rope like this kind of, and you come down and you come out. So I like to do those as well. So that's essentially what I do for arms, guys. I try to break it down into heavy days and light days if we're being pretty broad in general. That's the way that I like to do things. That's the way that works for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Watch any of my other videos where I'm training arms, and you'll be sure to learn something. So, Nick Strength and Power, helping you make arm gains on a daily fucking basis.